Paul's double dutying tonight. Thank you. Mr. Napier.
Yeah, Mr. Napier.
Okay, so, special board meeting, because we had a time shift, so Tuesday, February 11th. And we could do a call to order
Mr. Bellman?
Here.
Mr. Folk?
Here.
Mrs. Lindeman?
here.
Mr. Napier?
Here.
Mrs. Winger? Here.
Okay, and an adoption of the agenda. Motion?
So moved. Second.
Mr. Bellman?
Yes.
Mr. Napier? Ms. Folk, sorry. Mr. Folk?
Yes.
Mrs. Lindeman?
Yes.
Mr. Napier?
Yes.
Mrs. Winger? Yes.
Okay, and item number 4, the approval of the minutes from the organizational meeting and the regular board meeting held on January 14th of 25, and special board meeting on January 20th of 2025. Need a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Winger? Yes. Mr. Napier?
Yes.
Mr. Bellman?
Yes.
Mr. Folk?
Yes.
Mrs. Lindeman?
Yes. Okay, and number 5 is our public participation.
We have none.
Moving right along into number 6, special accommodations. So there's a list here on the agenda. PTO continues to just be amazing. That was an organization, honestly, it was kind of my first little organization I joined when we joined the district, and just really appreciate all that PTO does. The field trips and party supplies, gift cards. I know we'll be seeing some more field trip stuff, I'm sure, come up soon. We also have the West Side Club to Nurse Office for sweats. Appreciate that. Lorraine Boss donated a large green screen to the high school Freddie Flash. Thank Lorraine for that. And then another active organization, our FEA, and all of the contributions there. So we just appreciate all of that. We're super fortunate. So a motion to approve the special accommodations.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Folk?
Yes.
Mr. Bellman?
Yes.
Mrs. Lindeman?
Yes.
Mr. Napier?
Yes.
Mrs. Winger? Yes.
Okay, number 7, treasurer's report.
All right, expenses exceeded revenue in the month of January by $400,000. Large part of this was due to large medical claims. We did have a few large expenditures for the month of January. Again, they're the normal ones. Speech services, we did have FFA fruit sales in there, food service, and then special education services from Mid-Ohio ESC and Knox County ESC. Then we had the catch basin repair out here for the admin building, which was desperately needed. So thank you, Neil, on that one. I was able to close out 2024 on January 1st, and W-2s were out to everybody before the end of the year. Thanks to, I always want to thank Dawn and Lene for all their help and support in the office. I did a little breakdown for you all of the large expenditures so far for fiscal 25. I'm not going to go over all of them because there's a lot of them. I'll just point out a couple of them. We do a lot of business with Amazon. So for example, Amazon for the first 6 months of 2025, the fiscal year of 2025, we spent $32,000 with Amazon. CDW, which we buy a lot of Chromebooks and just computer repairs, we spent $83,000. The Knox County ESC, we've spent $170,000 so far with ESC. And let me see, Sloan Concrete, which did a lot of repairs around here, that was $10,000. And Ryder Dairy, which is food service, we spent $15,000 with them so far this year. Yeah, it was just an interesting look back to see what the large expenditures are for the first half of the year. And then on my consent agenda, I do have 3 items for appropriations. 2 of them are grants through due, which slight increases. One is $300,000 $300. The other one is $1,000. And then we did receive a local grant of $2,500, and that is for a safety grant. And that is all that I have.
Okay. Need a motion to approve the treasurer's consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions?
Question real
Yep.
quick,
Yes.
on that safety grant,
Yes.
is any ideas as far as where that,
Slips, trips and falls.
Okay.
2,500, yes. That was through Knox County, that we applied for that. We just received that a few weeks ago.
We did.
Okay. Thank you.
Just wanted to say thanks for putting that list together.
Oh, you're
The
welcome.
Expenditures for, that helps. We see it every month, but
It's nice to see
yeah,
a breakdown
kind
of
of a-
where the true large expenditures are for,
right,
at least for half of the year.
right.
So, yeah, you're welcome.
Any other questions for Heather? Okay. roll call.
Mr. Napier,
Yes.
Mrs. Winger,
Yes.
Mr. Bowman,
Yes.
Mr. Falk,
Yes.
Mrs. Lindeman.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, items number 9 and 10, superintendent's report and consent agenda.
Thank you, Mrs. Lindeman. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. I just have a couple items. The first one is just an update on snow days. Of course, everybody's asking that. We are currently at 6 days used, and by language, their contract, once after the 8th day, if we hit 8th day, then we would, by calendar, would make those up at the end of the school year. But just to let you know that, it's been an interesting past, a month and a half, 2 months with weather. So I am anxiously awaiting spring, as I think most of us are, for some consistency. And I'm thinking this week, I'm gonna say it, it's gonna be a full week without any interruptions. Put it out there.
Okay,
We'll see what
all
happens.
right.
All right, the other one though, thank you for that, but would also like to update the board and I've asked Mrs. Sackman to talk a little bit about this. Our K-5 English Language Arts curriculum selection process study, if you will, over the past, since school year started. Mrs. Reynolds has done a fabulous job there of leading us through it, but just wanted to ask Mrs. Sackman to say a few words there on where we are with that.
So, Mrs. Reynolds has led our ELA curriculum selection committee, and they have spent a lot of time thoughtfully, reviewing and evaluating various curriculums, and they have come to a consensus and have landed on one, and they'll be presenting that and sharing that with our DLT, next week, and then they hope to bring that recommendation to our board, in March. And it will be a curriculum that will go K through 5, so it will spiral up through our grade level supporting our reading language arts. And we're very excited about that.
Just a tremendous amount of work.
Yeah.
Commend elementary and committee and Mrs. Reynolds for all their work with that. So,
Thank you.
Yep.
that's all I have. So, moving on to consent agenda. As you can see, item A there is an overnight field trip for the FFA there to Muskingum and Carrollton, Ohio. 2 dates, June 2nd through the 6th, or June 16th through the 20th. B is a motion to accept the E-rate bid for Category 1 Internet Services from Meta Solutions, additional GPS services. We also have a resolution for our Ohio High School Athletic Association. That's an annual approval for the 25-26 school year. Motion to approve the student teachers from Mount Vernon Nazarene University. You can see we have quite a few there. Appreciate their work. Also personnel recommendations for the 25-26 school year. And then item G would be a motion to approve professional development for science of reading. And then also supplemental contracts for 24-25 school year on item H. Moving on down, you have item I would be classroom volunteers for this school year. And then item J is a formality there to approve the contract for construction services between the board, Fanning Howey Associate, and Yarman Construction for the bus garage improvement project. We do have number 11, that is to be voted on separately, and that is also to approve classroom volunteers for the 24-25 school year.
Okay, so a motion to approve A through J, 10A through J, the superintendent's consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion,
I have
questions?
a question.
Sure.
On B, we've got 2,054 a month, term 60 months, so are we tied in at that rate for 60 months now? Oh, good, okay.
Yeah.
Good, that's 5 years like
Yeah.
that, that's great,
Yes.
yeah.
And then on that, you're, with it being E-rated, are we 60 or 70%?
60%.
Okay,
Yep.
that's nice.
Yeah. They take care of me, yeah, they take care of
Good.
Anything else?
Um,
No? Are you sure? Okay, Mr.
I'd like
Napier,
to
sure.
talk about item, no, just kidding.
Somebody's feeling ornery tonight.
Mrs. Winger?
Yes.
Mr. Napier?
Yes.
Mr. Bellman?
Yes.
Mr. Falk?
Yes.
Mrs. Lindeman?
Yes. And then to be voted on separately, 11A, motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Napier?
Yes.
Mr. Falk?
Yes.
Mr. Bellman?
Abstain.
Mrs. Lindeman?
Yes.
Mrs. Winger?
Yes.
Okay, moving right along. We are at number 12, committee reports. Under the community connections section there, actually, the Career Center and FCDF both meet this Thursday.
We skipping 12?
Oh, sorry, did I skip something?
12.
Well,
Oh, wait, I'm using my old agenda, the one that, sorry, see, I took notes on it. Hold on, let me get to the right agenda. Well, I was good till then. Don't be laughing down there. Here we go, number 12. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, number 12 is the board action on FEA grievance heard on September 11th, 24. This motion is to adopt the Board of Education's Step 4 grievance decision dated February 11th, 2025, denying the Step 3 grievance filed by the Fredericktown Education Association on November 25, 2024. Within 10 days, the treasurer shall provide written notice of the board's decision to the grievant, voting principal, superintendent, and FEA president.
Okay, a motion to approve.
so moved.
Second.
Any other discussion?
Mr. Bellman?
Yes.
Mrs. Winger?
Yes.
Mr. Falk?
Yes.
Mrs. Lindeman?
Yes.
Mr. Napier?
Yes.
Now committee reports.
Now committee reports.
Okay. Like I started to say, Career Center and FCDF both meet this Thursday, so nothing to report out until next month for that. So, Mr. Bellman?
I don't have anything to report for this month. Should be only for next month.
Okay.
Yep.
Policy, Don and Paul?
We've got a meeting on the 18th to go over a little bit of paperwork between now and then for policy. So looking forward to tearing into that on this long weekend.
Okay.
I have no wife.
Yeah. Heather, it's my She can
Well-
read now, good.
I'm telling you, he's on it tonight. Okay, well, let's bounce over to legislative and advocacy. Shelley always has something great for us.
Oh, yeah, got lots. All right, so the General Assembly, the new General Assembly, commenced, on the first week of January, so it's the 136th General Assembly. So since then, they've introduced a number of education-related bills. Some are new, some are being reintroduced from, the previous General Assembly. So, they're just now, beginning the process of consideration, by both chambers on those. There's not a lot of progress to report on any of them yet. So it's kind of hard to know at this point which ones are gonna gain traction and which ones aren't. So as there's movement on those and some of them start to gain some steam, then I'll update the group the governor presented his executive budget proposal, which outlines his administration's priorities for 2025. Among those objectives were several education-related provisions. Those include, I'll just highlight a few of them. The investment of $30 million over the biennium to create a new school bus safety grant program. The investment of $7 million each fiscal year in competitive grants to support career planning and workforce readiness initiatives in K through 12 students. It would continue the phase-in of years 5 and 6 of the Fair School Funding formula. It would reduce the Fair School Funding formula guarantees to 95% in fiscal year 26 and 90% in fiscal year 27. And then it would also continue state investment in the school choice programs. So all of those provisions will be broken down into a series of budget bills that will be considered by the General Assembly. I think that process already started this week. So while the governor's proposal kind of outlines the initiatives, it's still the legislation that really kind of decides what that looks like at the end of the day. So all those will be processed through hearings in the education and finance committees, and the final budget then is due in July. So some of those initiatives could have a significant impact on school funding. So it's just going to be important to kind of keep an eye on those as they're discussed and amended. And then it's just a good time for me to remind everyone here, everyone in the room, even as private citizens, that you have, the ability to advocate for or against any proposed legislation by contacting your local legislator. So if you don't know who those are, you can find them pretty easily online at legislature.ohio.gov. And so kind of right now, as they're discussing all this new legislation, is a good time to reach out. That's it for me.
Shelley?
Lots more to come though, I think, so, yeah.
Always,
Yeah.
always. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Okay, finance. Don's gonna report out. We met this week, but I'm gonna let him
Okay, I would
Sure.
try to be totally impartial and calm about this, the state budget. A lot of what Shelley related to you, we talked about in the finance committee. The governor came out with his usual budget. Never mind about school funding, it is all in flux. The budget is there, arguments will be there, the lobbyists will be there in force. Try to pull it one way, try to pull another way. If it doesn't change, we feel one way. If we get more the other way, we'll be a little bit more happier. Right now, it's not the best budget, not the worst, but not the best I've ever seen come out. We have a little problem with here, of course, when it comes to financing. Since we're financed by the amount of students we have, we've lost 51 students from last year to this year, correct? 51's the total. We've lost, 9 over Christmas time and moved on to
Correct.
different things. So unfortunately, loss of students means loss of state revenue. We've lost over 51 students and we have not adjusted staff. We're doing our best to keep everybody here. So it's a situation we're going to be monitoring closely, and hopefully the state again will come through. Basically, that's it. I don't want to speculate, want to say a lot. Just going to wait and see what happens over the next 2-3 months, and hopefully it'll be good news for school. I'll shut up. I was going to.
Yeah, I'll just add that we'll probably meet again before May if needed.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Just
we will.
because which is kind of a moving target, so.
Yep.
Okay, so, any board member reports, anything additional anybody would like to add outside of our committee stuff? I just jotted down, it was really last week, but just wanted to recognize our school counselors. We're super fortunate to have 4 of them, Mrs. White, Mrs. Art, Mrs. Sparta, and Mrs. Truax, so that was last week, a way to kind of give a shout out to them, but we're, again, really fortunate that our students and families and staff honestly have them available. So that would be the only thing I would add. And I think we're gonna move into, unless anybody else, you guys were all good down the table? Okay. Administrative reports. Rock, paper, scissors over there in that corner. Okay.
So last week, the elementary celebrated Kindness Week, and that was organized by Melissa White, our guidance counselor. And she organized secret missions for the different grade levels to carry out to show kindness throughout the building. So a lot of letters of appreciation and kind acts were done. And of course, our young Freddies are kind every day, not just 1 week. So it was nice to have that showcase for them and for them to be involved in doing things across the building and across grade levels. And our PTO sponsored basketball gym coming on Friday as a celebration for that kindness. And he reinforced the importance of being kind, of being responsible, and making safe choices and encouraging your peers and their friends. And that was a wonderful gift that our PTO gave for us to wrap up that week. Our 4th grade classes this week are taking field trips to the Brown Family Environmental Center at Kenyon College. And it's an interdisciplinary science and art event that they are having, so it goes right along with the content standards for 4th grade, but reinforces that STEAM initiative that we have going in our building and throughout our district. And kindergarten registration dates have been set for April 29th or not registration, screening has been set for the 29th and 30th of April. But registration, people have already begun to call in and sign up. After 1 week, we've had over 30 people call to sign up. So I hope that is a trend that will continue for the upcoming weeks. And we recently celebrated the 100th day of school last week. So a lot of learning and a lot of celebrating within our buildings. And I'd like to thank all of our teachers and the members of our curriculum selection who worked with Dan to review our materials. We had over 14 teachers who volunteered to be part of that team. And they took their job serious and did a lot of diligent work and review.
Wonderful.
I guess I'm going next. At the middle school, kids did accomplished a lot here the last month or so. Good success at the spelling bee last month. I think I got these right. Caleb Cobb was 3rd, I believe. Carson Atkins 4th. Jay Smith was top 10. I can't remember exactly where, but so they represent the middle school very well. Academic challenge, same way. Kids did a great job. The highlight there would be one of our 6th grade teams finished 5th out of 30. There's over 30 teams on the story that they're competing against, so they represented as well. I'd like to thank Sally Briggs and Student Council for putting on the middle school dance last month. Kids enjoyed it, had a lot of fun. Just to remind you guys on, well, I guess it's 2 weeks now, the 27th, 7th and 8th graders, we're going to take them to the Richland County Fairgrounds for Junior Achievement Career event, much like the one that was hosted down at Energy Fieldhouse last year. So looking forward to that, getting all them up there to see what that's like. Athletics have wrapped up at the middle school. Wrestling, they ended up 6th place out of 10 schools that came that compete there. Basketball teams all ended the season with some tough losses. 8th grade boys, they ended up 2nd place in their tournament, real tough loss. The middle school girls, 8th grade, with some 7th graders, they had a tough loss in the semifinals, and 7th grade boys came up short in the semifinals as well. So, done with the winter, onto the spring and track season here in a few weeks. And then as far as like district testing goes, the 25th, we'll be doing the ACT testing for juniors up here. working with Ryan, Matt, Karen, everybody to make sure that goes smoothly since none of us have really done it before. So trying to make sure we're good to go on that. So they've been a lot of help getting that organized, and then we'll be gearing up for spring state testing here real soon. Any questions? Middle school?
Good.
Alright. I don't think I have a lot of new updates, but you probably saw some of this in Tim's report. Boys and girls both KMAC champions in basketball. The boys, KMAC tournaments this weekend for wrestling. Trent Rook is, I guess, we have now heard that I think he's 2 wins away from his 100th wrestling win. So I asked him, I said, I don't know anything about wrestling, but that's a pretty big deal. So he's right there. Girls bowling, they won the KMAC tournament. Boys came in second in bowling KMAC tournament. And Callie Carpenter is now our all-time leading scorer of basketball. So it's a sports update. I think most of you were aware that we applied for the Patel Manufacturing and Engineering Grant. We turned that in last Monday, a little bit before 5, the due date. But that was, and Christine was there, Gina, you guys can fill in if I missed something, but again, that was a fun project to be a part of. Alyssa Shriver, Jessica Webb also helped in that process, writing that grant. We were locked in here for a couple days. We learned a lot. The grant's for $85,000 that will be given out to 10 schools. The idea for us was, you may have already had it too, but I emailed you the abstract, not to just tonight. You have that. But it's to create a manufacturing and engineering micro school up here that would not only serve our students, but serve other students in the community. We're going to bring them in and use our PLCW intermixed with SOCA credentials that would allow our kids to earn industry recognized credentials that a lot of our industry partners would find valuable and express. So that's exciting. We'll find out on the 17th. So we don't have a lot of wait time. We know pretty quick whether we receive that grant. So, but either way, receive it or we don't receive it. I think the work was still worthwhile. We have a plan. So when those opportunities come available again, we have the ground laid for that. The other updates, again, on February 19th, I said this last time, we have parent-teacher conferences. Knox Foundation will be here to provide information on all their scholarships, and COTC will be here to help students and parents get their kids registered for CCP in the application process for CCP courses. I know that Gina pushed me on this yesterday.
Yeah.
It would not have happened if she didn't push me on this, but we got our juniors and seniors are going to take a field trip to OSU for their OSU Mansfield for their first annual STEAM event. And so we have 20. We could send 20 kids. I wasn't as confident that we'd get 20, and we have I think over 20. So we're going to have to maybe draw names.
Big
Figure out
cuts.
who's gonna go. So that's exciting that there's that much interest in our students. Either just want to get out and get voting, or they really want to go do this. But yeah, so we'll take 20 kids to High State Mansfield on.
That's this Friday?
That's this Friday.
Awesome.
I know that
Cindy Wood.
hands-on experience,
Yeah.
through different, areas of science and different, areas of expertise.
That's awesome. Good. Great.
I'm good. Any questions?
Did you say
All right.
February 17th for the grant is when, February?
Yeah, I believe
Okay,
that's- yeah.
so like next week?
Yeah.
So we're,
So if we receive it, then it would be something that we could implement next school year,
Yeah.
right?
Might have to find a new place to meet.
I know, hey, we'll meet wherever. Give us 185,000, we'll move the board somewhere. Right? All right, Mr.
Okay.
Computer, yeah?
A little bit of things going student services, started working with the preschool program. They've been selected by the state to be reviewed. So, sat in on our team with our school psychologist, occupational therapist, and a bunch of preschool staff to go through that process. We did get our special ed profile and indicators. We did fine with the compliance piece. I do have, mentioned in my board report, a day for half-day trainings for the staff to make sure we look at, yes, the compliance part, but also the quality of what we're doing with the kids part. So we'll have professional development on Friday, February 28th for that piece. I also am going to be taking our multiple category classrooms, Montana Hoover and Michaela Cordell, down to Buckeye Valley to look at some exemplar classrooms. And we visited the elementary classroom before, but we want to do a follow-up so we can kind of start having a little bit of transition. We're getting to the point where we're transitioning our kids from the elementary to the middle school. I want to make sure we have a little bit more of a seamless process as far as that goes. That Buckeye Valley has some very good programming, K-12. So I've known those folks for several years, and when I work with them, I'm trying to make sure we kind of mimic some of those programs. Other than that, a little bit was mentioned about testing. We're going to be having alternate assessment testing starting up, and I think that's about it that I wanted to share with you all. Unless there's any other questions for me for my board report. Thank you.
Okay.
Sure.
Sure.
February 27th, our family engagement committee is having a family literacy night
Oh,
for our grades 3 through 5. And we are targeting, helping parents learn more about the state testing and the reading guarantee. So there'll be a session on that, depth of knowledge and vocabulary, and then executive functioning and organization and how that relates to students' reading. And then in the gym, we'll have Lego, crafts and things for the students to do so the parents can go around and to the information sessions. And that is February 27th,
what time is that?
5:45 to 7:15.
Wonderful, thank you for that. Okay. We'll move to the other side of the room.
We're having our district bowling night on February 26th, from 4 to 5:15, so I'll be getting information out to, all the staff and administrators, so they can start signing up and get teams established. We will be having great prizes this year, high score, low score, team, overall senior, so, everybody's a winner. You don't need to go to winner prizes, so that's it. So looking forward to that and see what new t-shirt designs teams can come up with. Read Across America will be the week of March 10th to 14th. On March 10th, we'll be having a family night bingo for books. Time is yet to be finalized on that, but it'll probably be about 5:30. And we'll be possibly having some concessions, like a meal deal prior to the families that are interested in that. And then, next Friday, Thursday night, and Friday and Saturday, Lynn Burns and I will be attending the OEA conference in Phoenix.
Thank you. Sharon, anything? Anything to add? That's your bowl, are you bowling? Sure,
I have attended in the past.
okay. There you go.
She's working. Yeah.
I love it.
You can attend, you don't have to bowl.
Gotcha.
It's fun just to sit around and watch.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Have your phone ready with video or something, I don't know. Okay, well, that wraps up number 13. So 14 is executive session. Need a motion to enter into executive session for the purpose of negotiations with no action to follow.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Napier,
Yes.
Mrs. Winger,
Yes.
Mr. Bowman,
Yes.
Mr. Folk,
Yes.
Mrs. Lindeman.
Yes. Mr. Napier, turn us off if you don't mind. Thank you.